morning. Today is Tuesday, September 20th. Looking forward to seeing everybody in action today. It's going to be a great day. Hopefully you started off on the right foot yesterday with your day and on your Monday. And if there's anything that you need to change, the good news is today is a new day. So turn the page and make sure you're doing everything you can to be successful today. Just a couple of reminders this morning. As we go through announcements, right? Still want to be reminded of our cell phone usage, putting those up in our book bags before or after announcements. Those are also not allowed during recess time either. So we're doing really good about that across the entire school. So definitely keep that up, but I definitely want that to be a reminder each day for all of our scholars. So great work with that so far. Also in the hallways, let's make sure that we're continuing to stay at voice level 0, right? That really helps us out. When you're walking down the hallway, that helps other classrooms out as well. Also, do me a favor, when you're standing in the hallway, you're facing forward towards your teacher. Most of your teachers have you stand on a word, which I think is a great thing. So you're down on your word, which means that you're off the wall as well. So make sure that you are paying attention and actively listening to the speaker, which is Fairview 5 number 1. So make sure that you're actively listening to the speaker today and every day in the Eagle's Nest. Also, make sure that we're keeping those hands and feet to ourselves. We're cleaning up our area. We're being kind to others with our words and our actions, and we are doing our best. So to do your best each and every day, that means we're following the Fairview 5. That means that we are trying our hardest in class every single day. We're participating in class every single day. My head's not down. I am locked into what my awesome teacher and staff member is teaching me throughout the day, because that is what we do here in the Eagle's Nest, and we have a job to do and a goal to get, and we want to make sure that we are getting after it each and every day as elite scholars. So the other day I introduced to you a new word, increase, I-N-C-R-E-A-S-E. And increase means to make greater in size or amount, to make greater in size or amount. So there's a picture of it, and I want you to focus on the bottom row. So it's like a light blue, kind of a darker blue, a green, a yellow, and an orange. So that very bottom row. And I want you to notice that as we add 1 to 2 to 3 blocks, the amount of blocks increases, right? So this first block has 1, the next row has 2, right? Then the next has 3, 4, and 5. So as I add block after block, it increases the amount, and it makes it also greater in size. Notice how the first block versus the last block, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks are larger or taller than the first block because I increased over time. So we'll talk about different ways that you can increase things tomorrow with our different sentences that we will have. And show you different examples of how increase works in math. It works outside of math and reading, right? It is one of those words that you'll use a lot in your life. So increase means to make greater in size or amount. And as you can see, that those blocks are increasing in size. So today, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, just want to highlight somebody today. And this go round, I wanted to try to highlight folks that maybe you have never heard of before. And then, of course, there's some videos that go along with it. With that, if your teacher wants to show you those throughout the month, they are more than welcome to do so. But today is Vicente Fernandez. Probably haven't heard of him before. Over our past couple of years of Hispanic Heritage Month, we have not highlighted Vicente, but today wanted to do so because there's a movie named after him called El Rey, right? So he was called El Rey de la Música, which means he's the king of ranchera music. So yesterday we had we highlighted somebody that was the queen of salsa. So now we have the king of ranchera music. And so Vicente began singing, check this out, began singing at a very young age for tips on the side of the road. That's just how he became famous. Now, you can still see some of that happening in larger cities like Chicago and Washington, D.C., some in Charlotte, some in New York, right, where you will see what we call street performers. But when Vicente was a kid, there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok, there was no Snapchat. So becoming a famous singer took a lot more effort in a different way, in a different capacity. So what we look at as, or back then, singing on the side of the street would now be creating TikTok videos and trying to get recognized as a singer and so forth. But they're still doing both, of course, today in our world. But he began, of course, just by singing on the street, because I remember reading about his story. He told his parents, he said, I want to become a famous singer. And so his dad asked, what are you doing to become a famous singer? So he practiced. And then, of course, his best feedback was when he would go on the street corner where he lived and he would just sing openly for everybody. Now, I will tell you, that takes a lot of confidence to do that. And so I guarantee you, he gained that confidence because he has become, look at that third bullet point, he's become a famous Mexican cultural icon, right, with this extreme popularity. So when I was reading about Vicente, his popularity is boundless, which means a lot, right? He is super popular. But check this out. He's recorded more than 50 albums, and he's appeared in over 30 movies. Now, I don't know about you, but if you ever record 50 albums and you're in 30 movies, you're definitely going to be a pretty popular person. So Vicente, very popular, not only in music, but on the screen as well. He's won 3 Grammys and 8 Latin Grammy Awards. So he's got 11 Grammys to his name. And he also has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So today we highlight Vicente Fernandez, right? The king of ranchera music. So in the video that your teachers may show you, you will see him doing a performance of ranchera music in the culture in which he was brought up and raised in. And so I'm excited for you to watch that today or later this week or month if you get a chance to do that. All right, so switching gears real quick, if everybody could take a look at the screen. So we've had our first fire drill this year. We've had our first tornado drill. And might I add, both of those drills, scholars from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade did fantastic, right? Some of the best drills I've seen you do in a very long time in the Eagle's Nest, because one thing, we want to practice drills. And of course, we never want the drills to become a real thing. But if they do, that's why you practice things, right? And so one time in the fall and then one time in the spring, we'll practice our lockdown drill. Now, a lockdown drill, I'll say we will make it as quick as we can, but it's one of those things, scholars, that we want to make sure that we're taking seriously as well, so we'll know what to do in case of an emergency. So there's 2 things that you would always hear either myself or Miss Fuller come over the announcements and say. And the first one is shelter in place. So here in about 3 minutes, I'll get off of Microsoft Teams and I'll go over the loudspeaker and I'll say, we are now in shelter in place. And so all that means is if you were outside during recess and your teacher got a notification that we were shelter in place, they would just bring you back inside into the classroom so you could finish your recess inside. And then you would be fine anywhere else you were in the building. That just means that we want everybody inside. So that could just mean something's going on about a mile up the street and we just want to keep you safe. And so the only difference between with shelter in place is if you're outside, you come inside. If you're in specials during that time, you stay in specials. If you're eating lunch, you stay eating lunch, right? So everything stays the same unless you are in recess. Now, the lockdown drill, most of you, probably all of you except for our kindergarten scholars, have practiced this before. Definitely with me, if you've been with me at Fairview. But a lockdown drill is very simple. When a lockdown drill comes over, when you hear me say, we are now in a lockdown, right? Today will be a drill. But if you ever hear me come over the loudspeaker and say we are in a lockdown, that just means that you will quickly and quietly move with your teacher to a corner of the classroom that is away from the door and windows. So your teachers will lead you through that and what that looks like. Now, when we are going down the hallway, we'll just make sure that each class is safe. And so teachers would lock their doors at that time and make sure that they are away from the door. And you're staying as quiet as possible during that time as well. Once again, we will make sure that we do this quickly today and efficiently, so you're not having to stay in a corner quietly for very long or anything like that, so you can get back to your day. But definitely wanted you to know, scholars, what to do in those 2 different scenarios. Your teachers can add a little bit more to that if they feel led to do so this morning, or if you have any further questions about it, you can definitely ask your teachers or another staff member, as we will help you out as much as we can. So it's 7:38, so I'm going to head up front to do an announcement that we will be in shelter in place. And then around 7:42, 7:43, we will move into the lockdown drill, and I will make sure I say that over the loudspeaker as well. And then once we are done with the lockdown drill, it is business as usual. We're back at it today. It is a Tuesday, so we want to make sure we're getting after it today. We got a day off coming up very, very soon in the next week or two, so we want to make sure that we're getting everything we can in before that day comes in October. And also, scholars, we have a Scholar Dollar store, a Class Dojo Scholar Dollar store coming up this week. More information to come tomorrow on announcements with that. So it's going to be a pop-up surprise store for you. I'm excited about that so that we can highlight all the great things you've been doing so far in your classroom. But at this time, I'm going to end announcements on Teams and come over to the loudspeaker. Scholars, hope you have a fantastic day. I'm looking forward to seeing you in action here in just a little bit.